January the 21st, 2026. Guys, you're looking at satellite images over the U.S. and southern Canada right now, northern Mexico, excuse me. What you're seeing on the backside of these clouds, you can tell the weather feathered is very, very cold air. This is going to be one to remember. And there could be up to 1 million people or more without power or just across our section of the country. But what's happening now, and I noticed a difference in the Friday forecast, guys, going into Saturday, is this moisture right here that's coming in off the Pacific Ocean into Southern California and northern Mexico is going to be moving through the Four Corner states also. In the higher elevations, Mexico, or New Mexico, excuse me, guys, looks like you're going to get some snow. Colorado, you may finally get some. I've heard you talk about the lack of snow this year, and you can kind of tell it from the satellite images. You may get a break, and we're going to take a look at that. But right now, as I talked about yesterday, as this thing got closer to the Gulf of America, you're going to see more and more moisture start to pull out of that. And so, guys, this is going to end up being, I think, more ice and more snow and more freezing rain and snow than they're thinking. We're looking a little closer, but we're going to go to the forecast where we can look at the 3-day projection on this. Let's look at a couple of different filters and zoom up somewhat. And quickly, let's look at the water vapor loop. This is actually the upper level water vapor loop. And the brown or tan areas here, guys, kind of yellowish, are dry areas. And that's all squeezed. This is part of that cold front. And it's a high pressure cold front, and it's a very high pressure cold front, let's put it like that. And that's going to squeeze the moisture out of all of this as it comes across us. And again, look right here, like I said, it looks like, and you can see it going into green in some of the higher elevations here across Arizona now, or parts of southern Arizona, southern Nevada. But the Four Corners, it looks like you may get some of that. Again, we'll take a look at that forecast, but this is building up here. And what's happening with this section, guys, this is what's going to end up further to the east as it all builds in. This is going to be pushing through. So if you look just a little further south, it's still pulling moisture out. And again, guys, this is, like I said last night, we were showing the graphs, record-breaking cold. And taking a look at the southeast, this is where we're going to see the most damage from the ice storm for a couple of reasons, but it's going to be more moisture and colder than we have been talking about for the last few days. So we got to keep a very close eye on this. Do not wait. It looks like tomorrow is going to be your last day, even if it's raining, to get much of anything done, including traveling or any kind of prep you need to do. But here you can see in the upper level clouds where the moisture is. And it's all along the Appalachians, again, moving up into the northeast and still being pulled out of the Gulf itself. Now, this is today's forecast from NOAA and the National Weather Service. You can see where the high pressure lines are, and all of this behind it is very cold air. Here, the high pressure is starting to squeeze out the moisture, and they're anticipating in this area here where the green dots are, if you notice, rain and thunderstorms. I haven't seen any yet. It's been sprinkling again all day, like I said. Now, if you get north of there, it's rain, and then you get up into the very northern sections of Georgia and South Carolina, going through Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, mixed precipitation. Now, and in Florida, you've got the rain, and you can see here, and you can see where your snow is. Not much happening in the west yet. This is a very wide area of this Arctic vortex also. Now let's go to tomorrow, right there. Notice, let me back up. Notice where this line is, right here, this high pressure line. Now going to tomorrow, it's almost all the way to the coast. You notice that? And it's rain in the same areas, backed up into Texas, up into Arkansas and Oklahoma a little. And then your North Carolina area, and eastern Tennessee looks like where your mixed precipitation is. Now, your snow is covering much of the northern sections of the country. It looks like you're going to get a lot of lake effect snow. Now notice these circles with the gray lines through them. They indicate heavy snow. Here, a few other locations. Now, it looks like not a very exciting map of what we're about to deal with, guys, but let's look at Friday. That's why I said you've got till tomorrow. And I hope the rain is not too bad then, but let's go to Friday. Look at that. Let's go back to this Thursday. Look at the changes. Friday. That's very quick. Suddenly we've got, if you look over into Utah and Colorado, let me get that back up there, sorry. You got mixed precipitation, but in the higher elevations in New Mexico and on the Colorado border, you've got heavy snow possible. So if you can look up your maps where you're at, this is central New Mexico, and then you have heavy snow possible. Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, southern Kansas, parts of southern Missouri, Kentucky, again, Arkansas, Tennessee. Then here, you go south of that with the red lines, and this is where the freezing rain is. It's all going to be a mixed precipitation, but then this is where we're going to get our ice storm right there. So again, let's just look. Today, Thursday, and all hell breaks loose then. And snow's moving into Colorado, guys. Look at that. Not just the heavy snow, but you're seeing snow there, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri again, along the border in Montana, and of course along the Great Lakes. And notice a lot of this is on the right side or the east side of the lakes. So that's indicating to me that there's going to be a lot of lake effect snow that you guys will be seeing there. Now this is Friday through Monday, and we've got four things here. They're talking about 150 plus million impacted from the storm. And when we look at the National Weather Service forecast map, you'll see where that area is. But freezing rain, hundreds of thousands without power. Some are saying millions. Now, heavy snow from the southern plains to the northeast. Record cold follows for some, Texas to the Carolinas. What does that tell us? If we have an ice storm, it's not going to melt fast. That's what happened, guys, if you remember, in the Texas ice storm that ended up coming all the way through the southeast. Everybody lost power because of mostly down limbs and ice-covered lines. And it was a little bit rough. Thank goodness for the wood burner back then. Now, this is from AccuWeather, Friday through Sunday. It is power outage risk. Light yellow is localized, which it doesn't matter if you're in that zone and you don't have power. But then an orange is regional, and then red is widespread. And that does cover some of your metropolitan areas like Dallas, Fort Worth, Shreveport, north through North Mississippi, Huntsville, Alabama, up through Charlotte. You can see the cities, Atlanta. So that would be when you got those cities involved, that's going to be even more widespread. But you can see where it is going to occur now. But look at on the yellow lines, how far we're talking about now, guys. We're getting down close to a line between here in Mississippi anyway, from say Meridian or just a little south of there to sweeping down through Baton Rouge all the way to the coast along the Sabine River and back into Odessa, Lubbock, Oklahoma City, all through here. That's power outages because of this. And when you have that mixture, when it's not just ice, you're having the same problems. So you got to be prepared. This is one that'll go down in the record books. I hope it's no worse, or maybe not as worse as the last Texas, what I call the ERCOT storm. But just be ready for it. We've been gathering extra firewood. We have it under the shed, but I've been getting it to the porch. So we open the front door, not have to get in any ice or anything like that to get wood into the wood burner. And guys, I've been watching this map throughout the day, checking it out every once in a while. And it's been expanding these areas. This is winter storm watch areas. Check that out. Even going back into large areas of Mexico, into east central Arizona. And you've got winter weather warnings and watches up into Colorado now. Then up into the north, you can see where you got blizzard warnings. You're going to have that high wind. And we saw it the other night. We were watching, maybe was it a week ago, some of the protests up in Minnesota. Man, it's brutal up there, guys. I don't see how you make it. But I guess you can be acclimated to anything. And I guess it cuts down on your mosquitoes, but it's still, that's bitter. Let me pull this down and look at the key on these colors. Again, you got here, you're seeing in this color blizzard warnings. You can see where this is at there, guys, central Iowa through this area. And all of this in it's kind of a aqua blue, whatever, turquoise bar, aqua blue. All of this is right here, winter storm watches. This green area on the outer edge here is extreme cold watches. See this going down through most of southern Texas. And then here you've got cold weather advisories in the light blue. Moving up, extreme cold warnings. Now this is going to be starting mostly Friday, but this is the outlook. And you can see through the northeast, you've got in the purple here, winter weather advisories. Again, some of your extreme cold warnings, all of that's there. So I know it's wintertime, but it's going to get rough. The winter weather advisories are also along, notice the east side of the Great Lakes, especially Lake Michigan here. That advisory, and you can tell that's from lake effect snow, right through there and moving here, right there. Anyway, let's look at one other thing. Let's take a look at how this ice is going to advance. This is Friday. Pink is ice, snow, and the purple here above it, and then you got snow, rain in the green. The snow in the blue is a mixture. Now you can almost see where the cold front of that Arctic vortex is dipping right here. This is Dallas, Texas, swinging back around into New Mexico, coming out of the Panhandle. Check that out. Headed to San Antonio. We still got rain coming in Friday through our area. Now let's move forward to the next map. Now this is not going into Saturday. This is just 9 p.m. Friday night, same day. But look how fast this is spreading. This is ice now. It's not just that dip right there from Dallas over to El Paso through here, but it's much larger, all the way going all the way through Mississippi into North Alabama with snow and mix above that. Again, your blues are snow, different levels of snow. Then we still have moisture through Texas and through Arizona down into New Mexico. But again, your Colorado, look at this. You guys are starting to see some of what you have not been getting. Going into Saturday now, you've got snow mixtures from Albuquerque over New Mexico into Oklahoma City, up right on the border of Nashville, St. Louis, over Charlotte, Washington. But the ice here, again, covering a much thicker swath and wider everything of ice. That's the damaging factor. Snow is one thing. Ice is a whole new ballgame. Northern Louisiana, Arkansas, most of North Mississippi, and North Alabama coming up. Then of the Carolinas up through, again, Memphis is a snow and a mixture. And then going into Saturday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, you can see that this is dipped further south into Texas, a little further south into Mississippi, getting into our area by that time pretty good. And then Tennessee, you're pretty much covered up. North Atlanta, look at South Carolina. Everywhere except along the coast, just a few areas through here, you're going to be in an ice storm situation. Atlanta, north of there again, and coming into North Carolina along the beach and along the very east coast or the east side of North Carolina. But the rest of this to Virginia Beach and Nashville, Little Rock is going to be a mixture. Now, Little Rock, notice right here, you're going to be getting some ice also. Check that out. The rest of this up to Chicago and Cleveland, New York, Kansas, this is all going to be a mixture of snow. Now, this is going into Sunday, and I've looked at some of the temperature maps scaling up into the 26th of January, and the cold that's dipping in starting Friday, guys, is still on here on the 26th. That's dipping into the 23rd, but that's as far as the temp maps went, as far as very cold air. But it came down, and it's going to be staying for at least 3 days. And again, that's the end of that forecast. Sunday, still lingering even deeper into our area here in central Mississippi, a good part of Louisiana, except down from Baton Rouge to New Orleans. Look at Houston. You know how many people could be without power when you start talking about Houston? Possibly Baton Rouge here, going up through Jackson, Memphis, Tennessee, Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte to Virginia Beach, and all the towns in between. And 150 million people affected. But I guarantee you there's going to be several million people without power. And the reason I'm kind of harping on this the last few days, guys, is because people are going to be caught unprepared. And that's the reason for this. Nobody can be fully prepared. I think I've got everything I need. I hope I do. But you can always be caught off guard. But the more you prep, the least chance you're going to be of getting caught off guard. So make sure you do that. Tomorrow could be the last day, even if it's a light rain, to get all your stuff in order. Get you some extra cases of water, things like that. When the ice starts to hit, fill up all your bathtubs, any extra buckets that you can fill up, that you can just use to, flush your toilets and things like that. Be prepared. It can be very miserable if you've never been through an ice storm with no power for maybe a week. That's what we're looking at. And that is if they can get into the damage. When you have this much ice, you're talking about so much cleanup work along the roads because of limbs and trees and along the power lines. So it just adds a lot more time into that situation. And they have to look at after we started this on Friday night, right? Friday. It's Sunday. They can't come out in ice, which is continuing for 3 days, and repair anything. I mean, it makes it a lot harder. I mean, once the storm is clear, you'll see them out. There'll be ice on the limbs and the trees and things like that, and they're working. But when it's coming down sleeting and ice like that, they can't get out in that. So you're going to be on your own. You better be prepared. This is going to be a good lesson for folks that had never been through this on being prepared. The hurricanes here along the coast and in Mississippi, Florida, through all these areas that I've been through so many of, seen so much damage and so many power outages, you become a natural prepper for disaster. But for me, it took going through those things. Katrina, no power, no water for 2 weeks. Central Mississippi, we were 120 miles inland. Katrina was devastating. Anyway, same thing here, different level. And Katrina was in and out pretty quick. This is not going to be in and out pretty quick, and that's the danger of it. Every bundle of extra firewood you can get up, look around, get it. You better prep, pray, and stay off the ice. It's a heads up, guys. Be safe.